How's it compared to when you got, oh, got
Let's stand and recite the pledge. I'm going to wait till you sat down, Doreen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Let's pray. Lord, we pray that you would open our eyes to see your hand at work in every aspect of this meeting. May your Spirit guide us in making wise decisions and lead us toward the best outcome. In Jesus' name, amen. Brief moment for your own intentions. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Is any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Opportunity for public comment. Anyone from the public wish to speak? Seeing anyone from the public wish to speak, let's move on. Robin, I believe you have just a brief message. Could we just get that out of the way, just to clarify what's going on with the Treasurer's Office, and hopefully everybody's listening and out there.
Robin Shrake, Meade County Treasurer. I just want to put another public service announcement out to everybody in Meade County. We will be closing down motor vehicle transactions at 4 o'clock on Thursday. That's this Thursday, February 13th. We will not be able to do a motor vehicle transaction until Tuesday, February 18th at 8 o'clock.
So Friday, the folks can come in and pay their taxes. You'll have some staff on hand for that.
Yes, we will have 2 people in the office to answer phone calls and to do property taxes, but we will not be able to do a motor vehicle transaction.
No licenses till Tuesday.
Correct.
Okay.
Robin, is that statewide as well?
That is statewide. Thank you for saying that, because other people out there that might be listening might want to spread it out to relatives.
I'm not sure it'll help. Should we put that on the website, do you think? Or is it already? Okay.
Tony does have it on the website along with Facebook post.
I'm sure Tony's probably going to update that again, refresh it, bring it to the top again.
We have it posted on the door, possibly. I don't know. I guess I'm sure we'll get somebody, but thanks. I think we're doing all we can.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Equalization.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rhea Crane, Director of Equalization. Happy to report that we are in the final push of getting assessment notices to the printer yet this week. They will be going out the door shortly, which will make for some interesting conversations ahead. John did push through and got the campground and all the commercial appraisals done. There are some significant increases in campground values. Significant. For those of campground owners that might be listening, I would just encourage you at some point here in the next couple weeks perhaps to just come and visit with John so you can go over what actually was done. I think a lot of it is just a lot of hookups that were not on the books before. Land values actually haven't.
Yeah, so it's the improvements that they've had that should have been taxed in past years that we've caught now.
There's a lot of that, yes. Land values on the campgrounds did not get reviewed this year, simply for a lack of time, so that will be looked at next year.
Okay. Yeah, so just remind...
Doreen, will you turn your mic on, please?
I said I've noticed, since I follow whenever a campground goes up for sale, that their asking price, have their asking price, and then I go down through all the listing and I get their appraisal price, and there's a huge disconnect between the two.
There is a huge disconnect, but there's often more to a campground sale than just real estate.
Well, I realize that they're also selling the business and the business name, etc. But then at the same token, then I will go through, like I have in recent years, and I look at the actual dollar value that some of these great big campgrounds are paying in taxes, and I realize that 1/3 of it goes to the county, 2/3 of it goes to the school, and I look and I see that what we are getting from the county doesn't pay for even the overtime in Pat's office during the rally. And so, but I realize that your job is not to get back all those costs, but it is, we help them make money.
I will say that John and I did some quick math on one of the largest campgrounds, and the assessment increase, and it's about a $35,000 estimated increase in taxes. The staff has been getting together talking about the 2025 reappraisal projects as well as our 5-year plan. We just completed our 5-year cycle, 5-year plan that we had laid out before, and it honestly came together pretty well. So I have a lot of confidence in laying out this plan moving forward, keeping us on track. Other short of ag buildings, ag improvements that really don't seem much other than factoring in. Obviously, the new buildings are picked up, but we don't have a lot of time to spend out in the eastern side.
Oh, I guess I didn't talk to anybody long enough before I came to the meeting today, because I guess I just have.
I'm happy to be your first one during.
I guess I have all kinds of questions this morning. When you mentioned the ag, I noticed there's a bill in front of the legislature to ban assessors from using drones.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was wondering if this commission has a view on that, because I would assume when it comes to looking at ag properties and everything that it's a huge time saver for your office.
I can tell you that Meade County does have a drone. However, our equalization office has not ever used a drone in assessment purposes. Not to say that we wouldn't one day under the necessary circumstances, but it wouldn't become a regular. I would rather invest the time and money into great great imagery that we can use for many more things. You know, we can. The imagery allows us much more than the drone flight.
But you don't get the imagery every year.
No, we don't. Every 3 years. In fact, 2025 is our flight year this year.
Sometimes you can have a building out there for a couple of years before it ever gets found. And I just hate, even if you don't use it a lot, I just hate to see the legislature try to hamstring what could be a cost-effective and usable tool.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that bill died. I believe so.
Oh, well, that's good, because I could see them coming next for, like, Pat. I don't know if Pat ever uses a drone, but I could certainly see where
Pat could still use one under this bill. It was just the equalization office that couldn't.
Oh, I know. But what I'm saying is, once they start in one area, if they win there, then they go next. And, you know, it would be, oh, the poor criminal can't. And I hate to see anybody hamstrung. That's all. I'm now going to be quiet.
April 8th, you will have to meet for at least a short time after your county commission meeting for the boards of equalization. We have to open our boards that day. We will take a look at our workload once we start getting people visiting with us about their assessments. We'll decide how many, hopefully not days, you need to meet. Hopefully it will be, we like to keep it short and sweet if possible. But just keep that in mind. If there's days in April that you cannot meet, please let me know so we can cross that off the calendar. And I will be sending you sometime probably in March dates that potential dates. If you get back to me with that would be very helpful so we can schedule appointments. And Earl, if you want to meet with us before Boards of Equalization to kind of get a lowdown on how the process works, we're happy to do that.
Yeah. Your job as the newest is to make all the motions to deny the request.
Oh, are you done?
Yes.
Then I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how I love that thing with the number of house sales?
Yes.
Yeah. but I noticed we didn't have box elder in there.
Oh, well, we will talk to Jill about that.
And, but I ran some quick figures. And you know, people, the increase in assessments is always a topic. But I'm going to ask you if these figures kind of go along with what your figures. It appears to me that in the last 4 years, the houses in Somerset have sold for about 46% more. Font, 64%. Faith only had 5 sales, but
They're
they went
typically all
down
over the board,
27, yeah. And I don't, that probably, but overall the county, 52%. And, but it looked like towards the end of 24, the acceleration of increases starting to decrease.
I would agree with you 100%. And I think I told you last meeting that we do have neighborhoods. You'll be happy to hear Vernon Heights is included. Actually,
I have no property up there.
Well, but you know people that do. Deborah.
I know people that do.
There are, we did make a decrease in improvements in Vernon Heights. There's other subdivisions as well, but.
Any more questions, comments for equalization?
That bill did fail. Senate Bill 50.
There are some very interesting bills this year.
Yeah, there's
Holy buckets.
Oh,
interesting.
there's a lot of clickbait. I'm going to call them clickbait bills rather than substantive bills.
I think
Really?
Aaron and Don and Chris can all attest to the fact that I listen to them during the day and they all look at me like, do we have to have this?
Okay, let's, any more
It
questions?
just makes us seem more practical.
Comments? Thanks, Rhea. Facilities, Ben, you have any?
Good morning, Commissioners. Ben Petracco, Meade County Facilities Director here, and I was just going to give you guys a short report on some of our January workload. I don't have anything really major to report other than the information that's shown on my KPI report. We had another busy month in January with 54 reported work orders, and we had 7 after-hour or weekend call-ins. As always, we had a lot of plumbing, HVAC, and door lock type work requests from the jail. As far as the call-ins go, several were related to the snow removal. We've been getting a lot of these small nuisance snow, I call it, you know, the 1 to 2 inches, but we had several of those over the weekend.
You know, those call-ins over there to the jail. Pat, do you have some unusually naughty prisoners over there that are doing this?
None of the call-ins for the month of January were really due to any kind of inmate related stuff. No.
Okay.
No, we had one where we had the elevator actually locked up and got stuck on 3rd floor.
Was anybody
Nobody
in
was
it?
in it. It just wasn't functional. So that's a pretty big deal for the staff over there, as you know. When that's down, we try to get in and get it going. And typically it's go through a sequence of rebooting all the power to everything, and usually it comes out of it, and it did again this time. So that was one of them. We had a couple boiler failures the weekend that it got really cold. I think it was over President's Day weekend. I think it was like 15 below the one day or something like that. And sometimes those boilers go out on flame failure when it gets that cold. They don't want to light. Luckily, we have backups. You know, each building has a backup, and usually we can get those working until we can get the other ones to light. So the buildings never got down to a dangerous temperature or anything like that. We did have a power outage too out at, it was on a Sunday out at the Enning area. There was a wide outage out there, and our our system that I installed at that radio tower, it worked. It sent out a message over the radio to dispatch to let them know we were on generator power out there. So then they did the right thing and put in a work order, and I was able to contact Grand Electric right away, which they'd already had like several people report it because it wasn't just our one building. But yeah, so that worked. So that was good. That's the first time we've had an outage out there since I got that put in. They got it back up in around 5 hours. So, I mean, we ran on generator power for approximately 5 hours out there during that time. So we did go out and check the fuel level just to make sure we're still above 50% on that. So probably good for now. What else we got?
So that was a good investment.
Yeah. It's good to know. I mean, anytime we lose power out there, because if we don't, we end up using all that propane, and then ultimately we don't even know that we're out of propane until we lose radio or paging functions out there later on. So yeah, I think that piece is already paid for itself in the first use probably.
Who do we get the propane for out there?
That comes from any propane out there. Right there close.
Can we get set up especially on that one? I know it's a cost, but it can get set up so that they can read our meter right from.
Yeah, they don't have a remote one on that, but I could call out there and see if that's a possibility.
Hey, obviously
that would
we need
save
to know
me trips.
Propane is when they run on generator. We need to get it filled, but we also need to power fix. But it would at least save.
Let them know
a lot,
that we're low. Yeah,
as remote as that is.
Yeah, I'll call out there and see if that's an option for them to install one of those on there.
I know it is. That's who we get our propane from, and at home.
Now, do they need power for that? I can't remember how those work.
Yeah, they're right there too. You'd think that they could.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look into that.
Mine doesn't have power to it.
Maybe they're battery.
We don't have them all.
It might be battery powered. We have one on the one at Sly Hill, I know, because I don't ever have to worry about it. They fill it.
I know it's an option you can get. Yeah. They send letters out.
Yeah, we definitely
might check with that.
Definitely want to get that.
Yep.
Just a few other kind of key projects we did for the month of January. We had our quarterly air filter replacement and air handler services on all the buildings and heat pumps. We did decommission another sheriff vehicle and hauled it out to the highway shop to be sold at the future auction. We replaced several parking lot light fixtures that have started to fail on the roof of the courthouse. And we also added some on the west side to help. We've always been kind of dark on that west side, so now the sidewalks lit up better, and in between the extension building and courthouse is a lot better lit. That's kind of it for main projects. Just trying to keep the buildings warm with these temperatures we've been having lately is the main thing. Yeah, I guess that's kind of all I got for the month of January. If you guys have any other questions?
Any questions, comments for Mr. Petrocco?
Sounds to me like they've been busy running.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. IT, Mr. Cummins, you have anything?
Morning, Commissioners. Tony Cummins, IT. KPI on power for average for January. Not a whole lot to report for KPI stuff. Our security awareness training is still getting those reports sent to us from CISA and those other agencies that we're in contact with that do our external monitoring and scanning. They are coming back looking really good. No significant changes from the last couple of times I presented, which is obviously good. I know it gets boring when you see the same results every time. 0 is what we want. Should that go change, then we've got some issues going on that we need to address. So, our DNS domain blocking, which is on the last page, I believe, is a huge benefit to the county. I think I've explained this before. Every request that leaves every URL or IP address that leaves the county gets filtered through Akamai now, and they determine if the end result or where the end user is trying to get is on one of their malicious lists, and there blocks it automatically before the end user even notices. They do get a pop-up to say that access has been denied, to contact IT. As you can see by those DNS requests, daily activity, we get thousands and thousands on a daily basis, so that's a huge benefit to the county. It's a free service that CISA supplies us, and we're availing of it, making good use of it. That's pretty much for my normal report. I do have a little bit of information to share with stuff we're previously worked on or about to work on. So the switch replacement, as you're probably well aware, we got that completed. Completed successfully throughout all the county buildings. We had just a couple of minutes of downtime for the whole weekend. I think I counted 6.5 minutes for the law center between the two and a half days that we took to implement those switches. The project itself took 25.5 hours in total to complete. That's not including any prep hours or staging that was done prior to help with the downtime for the law center. So really pleased with how that turned out. A couple of little bugs on Monday morning for printers and stuff like that we stepped on pretty quickly. But for the most part, it went really smooth, and the county, we're far better now than we ever were. Better redundancy by having that second core switch and the second high availability firewall that is automatic failover. So we're sitting pretty good there.
You deserve a gold medal for that.
I will say, if any of the commissions are interested in touring any of the wiring closets and asking any questions on any of the, equipment that we just replaced and how it all works, I'd be happy to do that. I was going to present some photographs, but this is probably not the best place to do it, so I declined.
I think you should all look at the before and after pictures at the very least, because it is very remarkable.
So that was a big project that we took on. We got completed successfully. We're now sitting pretty good for county, for hardware-wise, for switches. We're good for the next 10 years. Touch wood. We got some redundancy in place: core switch, firewall, and a secondary switch that can basically go anywhere when needed. We're currently working on a geocom.
Send us those before and after photos.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because I'd love to see them.
Sure. Geocom mapping. So we've discussed this prior to December or thereabouts, that we were getting ready to set up the new mapping system for the sheriff and for dispatch. Most of the configuration setup has been completed on that. We are in the testing phase right now, and yesterday Kathy, our dispatch supervisor, gave the go-ahead for her dispatchers to commence the training on it. So we're a couple of weeks out, maybe 2-3 weeks out for that to go live, and they are loving everything to do with it right now. So high praises for the new mapping system.
Does Somerset have that?
Somerset.
Yeah. Do you know if the city of Somerset has it?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
The only reason I ask is, during a recent storm, they had some fires on some of those electrical poles. And so on the Somerset page, there was dialogue as to who got a notification that power might be going out and who didn't. And I was wondering if they had that geo system installed there, because in effect that's what our system will do during a problem. It'll isolate and just send notifications to the affected areas, correct?
Our geocom system is primarily for our deputy PD dispatch. 911 call comes in, gets plotted to the map, and auto responds to the responding agencies that are designated for that area.
Okay, so then what you're talking about has nothing to do with the program you're implementing. Okay. I'm just learning this tech stuff, you guys.
Hey, questions are good, right?
My guess is the power one for Somerset would have come from the
So yeah, we're going to be going live here within 2-3 weeks of geocom mapping for a dispatch center. And lastly, our computer deployment. I have Clay currently working on deploying the last of the replacement computers that we purchased in December or January. He's currently working on the state's attorneys now, and I think we got a handful of maybe 5 or 6 computers to finish up. And then we're expecting the delivery of the tough books for the sheriff's department's deputies, so we'll be implementing that. And once that gets done, then we're going to be sitting pretty good for hardware for end users for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So we're looking pretty good for that. Once the tough books get deployed, then I'm going to be moving on to a couple of other projects for the IT department, which I've kind of discussed a little bit with a couple of the commissioners, presenting here probably in the next commission meeting. But our 365 government cloud move, domain controller replacements, and a hypervisor environment setup. So, that's all coming down the pipeline. And then lastly, we're going to be phasing out the last of our Windows 10 machines. We've probably got 30 left on our system. We got till the end of this year to do that. We have hardware in place. Most of those guys can take the upgrade. Those that don't are already planned on a replacement. So pretty here shortly, we're going to be no Windows 10. So that's going to end the life. So we're ahead of the curve on that one. That's all I got. Any questions?
Yeah, I see that I got the security awareness training email from you guys.
Yeah, so thank you for that. We also did implement the 2025 security awareness training you guys support for our end users. That was pushed out to all end users with a 4-week turnaround, hopefully, so that I can present at the next commission meeting that we have all end users have completed that for the month of January. So they're all caught up on all the new and exciting ways that they can get tricked into clicking links.
So we're doing this once a year, is that the deal?
Correct, yeah, once a year. The vendor that we use supplies new videos, new training material to keep up with the latest trends and kind of, how the bad guys are getting into systems out there. End users, if they repeatedly click on my phishing attempts, do go through some remedial training. So yeah. So we keep a kind of a scorecard on everybody. And
sure. The half hour is, going to be a lot of employee time, so I just wanted to making sure. Seems like we just did this last month, but it was.
Each of those new ones are sent out on the January of the year, new year for the new training requirements. It does take sometimes a couple of months to get everybody caught up. Again, going back to when time allows to get the training in. But for the most part, I'd say 98% of our end users are really receptive, really enjoy it, and take a good lot of information out of it that they can use outside of the county.
Yeah, people forwarding to this, wondering if it's a scam.
We do get a lot of that, and I'm thinking of actually implementing some extra features in our Outlook clients where there's buttons that you can turn on and off just to report it straight into a receiving email, so that the IT department gets alerted to potential ones that get by the checks and balances that we have in place. Because Sue done, they do get through that.
I just forward them to you.
Yeah, that's what I tend to do too.
That's okay.
Me too.
That's okay. I prefer that than clicking a real one and deal with the aftermath. Okay, guys, anything else?
We're good, Tony. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Human resources. Oh.
Good morning, Deborah Bransrud, Meade County Human Resource Director. The monthly report on January was submitted. There's just a couple things that I wanted to bring to your attention. The options that for retirement was due on Monday, February 10th. I received 39 out of 40 back. So there will be one person that will just be moved into option number 3, I think it was, into the payout one. But other than that, 39 out of 40 came back on time.
This is for the retiring of the sick leave, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And in general, which option did they select?
Most of them took holding on to their sick leave hours, but there's a good share that are doing cash out, and I think one person doing the split.
I'm glad they had an option.
Yeah, so that's on that one. And then I've been working with the volunteer fire areas in Meade County. If anyone knows who the fire chief person is for Elm Springs. I need that name and contact. That is the only one I cannot find.
I can get you a number for that.
Okay, I've reached out to Jerome Harvey, and I've reached out to Scott. No one knows who that is, but
Morris.
they're trying to find out.
Be Morris Lynn, but I'll get you his number after the meeting.
Okay.
Oh,
So that is
yeah.
the only one. Was it? Excellent. Thank you. So that is the only one that has not been sent their update training list and to update their volunteers for January. 2 of them are in for this week's consent calendar, which is Sturgis and Blackhawk. I received Piedmont's back on Monday, and Scott said he would help me kind of push the other ones to the other areas to get them moving. I think Faith will have theirs back tomorrow. I received a note from them. So that's going well, and then we have all the training marked for what volunteers have attended the proper trainings, and that is what SDML has been looking for. Other than that, I met with Sheriff West yesterday. We're going to work on updating his the supervisor for communications job description. So we will begin. I'll probably make a run at it this week and send it back to Pat for a review. He gave me 2 or 3 areas that we want to make an update on. I think it's good timing because when we begin our updates on the classification and compensation, they will receive all of the job descriptions to review to make sure that what they're hearing from the employees and what the job descriptions kind of come together. So I think it's good timing for us on that. And outside of that,
Any questions for Ms. Bransrud?
I want to note that, you know, Deborah's always very good about our birthdays and everything else. Deborah has an anniversary in February. She has been with us 3 years.
yes,
And
last Saturday.
I want to thank her for getting us into the 21st century. I think we made some great headways.
I think the whole Meade County has benefited greatly from making some changes in the employees. So, yeah, good stuff.
So happy anniversary!
Yeah, now if we can just get our benefit company to get their new software system working, we will be 100%. They thought they had it working on the 24th of January, and I met with Risty Benefits, and I got the notice yesterday it is not working. So Navigator is our new platform that everybody will work on when they update benefits coming this fall. It is not feeding to any of the providers. So we are still working manually, but they said 2 weeks, and they're hoping they'll have this, I don't remember, some kind of a operational feed fixed.
So is that delaying people who have claims, their claims being paid?
No, it should have nothing to do with the claims. It primarily has to do with new hires, if you have a QLE or if you're terminating. So it's the feed that goes out to all the providers saying this person's made a change, this person's new, this one's leaving. And that's very important to us as a county that it's done timely because it comes on our bills. And if the bills aren't updated promptly, then there's always a carryover and a fix.
Any more questions for Ms. Bransrud? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Sheriff West, I don't see you on the agenda, but you have anything? Okay, good. Veteran Service, Emergency Management.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Henderson, Meade County Emergency Management and Veteran Services. On the emergency management side of the house, had a couple dispatch contacted me to respond to a couple events. We had a January 20th, which happened to be MLK Day. There was a structure fire. Fortunately, we have the best volunteer fire departments in probably Black Hills. I don't know, but they put out the fire very, very fast. Many Fire departments responded. It was a family of 4 with pets, and there was no injuries. It was isolated to the garage and some smoke damage to the residents, and the family wasn't displaced, so good news. And then a week later, on the 28th, this one was a big scare for a little bit. Over on Peaceful Pines, I don't know if you've noticed it, they're doing I think they're expanding the water lines across the interstate.
Yeah, Blackhawk Water.
Yeah, Blackhawk, and the construction company marked it wrong. It was off by probably 6 feet, and they busted a gas line.
The gas company marked it wrong. Yeah, the construction company was digging where they were told.
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. I misspoke. So they, so fortunately it was going in the direction that benefited the residences, and the gas company that was able to stop it and cap it off. Because if it was going the other way and if the wind had shifted, then we may have had to evacuate multiple homes. So fortunately, it was at the end of a cul-de-sac essentially, and the wind was blowing up and kind of up and away, and no harms. It was just a few hours of gas spewing at a massive rate into the atmosphere. I'm sure it cost some of these companies some money. Any questions about those 2 events at all? No? Okay, I'm helping several of the volunteer fire departments with the 2025 Homeland Security grants, helping them write them and submitting a couple of them. And the deadline is the 14th, Valentine's Day, which is this Friday, I believe. And then I'm working with Kaylee Snyder. She's from the Black Hills Council, our pre-disaster mitigation plan for 2026 to 2031. We obviously got our grant, so they're busy starting that process to get that written over the next year or 2. We're still in the current, the current one expires in 2026. So Kaylee is going to do a short little presentation at one of the upcoming meetings soon. She can speak a lot more intelligently about it than I can. And if there's any questions from you folks. Anything on the emergency management side? You have any questions? Okay, on the veteran services side of the house, it just continues to be extremely busy. 175 veterans in January, and 37 of those were new veterans that I had never worked with before.
Do you get very many congressional inquiries?
Some, probably 2 a month on average.
And then how do you handle those?
I do what I can to resolve the issue that they have. A lot of times veterans, sometimes they don't even know there's VSOs, or maybe they're frustrated, and so of course they jump to the congressional requests. And then we have a great rapport with the veteran representatives of our senators and Congressman Johnson. So we meet quarterly with them as well. And also the heads of the departments at the Black Hills VA as well. So we have a great relationship with them.
That's good.
Sometimes we can resolve things pretty fast, and some things like character of discharge upgrades, those take a long time. I just got one yesterday, coincidentally, and it didn't favor the veteran, so it happens.
I was just curious.
Anything else for Henderson before we get on to C2?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to talk about we do have some action here today.
Oh, yeah, I'm
that
sorry.
agreement.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I did have a second part, Part B. All right. So this is just our yearly, the state reimburses the county for a portion of my salary. It's not a humongous amount, but anything helps, right? So I attached in the agenda, I filled everything out for you, Mr. Daring, and I just need you to sign it if you can. And then I believe I have to send the minute. I don't know, I have some instructions. I think I have to send the minutes or something as well. It's just the same thing we did last year, but it's been a year, so I can't remember. Can't remember last week sometimes. So
We essentially, and Ken's not going to be here today. He let me know he's got drug court today. Essentially, we have to participate in this program the way I understand it. But we also have to agree to it. So.
I probably should have attached this as well. This is kind of the front page of that. That's and it's by population. So we have over 30,000 people. So the reimbursement rate, is going to be $4,800.
I think it was $4,500 last year is what we get reimbursed.
Could be, yeah.
But yeah, it could have changed this year.
Would you like me to leave this with you? I'm sorry. This is just the kind of a synopsis of it.
That's fine.
Okay.
I might, if you got another copy, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, of course I do. I brought it just in case I had to reference it.
So any questions, comments on this agreement? Basically, the state requires counties to have a VSO officer, and they reimburse, Meade County gets reimbursed $4,800. I think it was $4,500 last year for the salary for the VSO officer. So essentially, like I said, it's an agreement that the state tells us we have to be in. But we have to take action to be in it, I guess.
They pay about 2 weeks' salary.
Is it that much?
I don't get paid that much.
Oh,
unless I'm underpaid.
Maybe 7, 8 days.
We have to pay about. We have to
probably
pay
about a month. At least.
No, let's get on with it. Do I have action on this?
6 months of
I'll
salary.
make a motion to approve the agreement with the state and have the commission.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second on the floor to for the county veteran service officer agreement with the state. Is there any discussion to that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
Highway brings us down to D1 on the agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Troy Eastman, Highway Superintendent. First agenda item is our monthly report, and we're looking at the breakdown of our snow costs so far. I believe this is for all of January.
December, I think.
Oh, this is December one. I'm sorry.
Seems like we've had more ice this year than nuisance ice than most things. But
Yeah, I mean, we're not getting stuck in snow drifts. It's just enough to go out and have to, salt and sand everything, and just keeps coming a little bit at a time, I guess. So, just part of the job.
I'd rather have snow.
I think it's easier to deal with for sure.
Yeah, and we need the moisture.
Yeah, it seems to be south of us.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it just seems to keep getting drier and drier, even though it's cold and we have this little bit of snow and moisture, but it doesn't really do much. So,
I was surprised this morning on my way in. Took me a little longer because I was taking a side road, and there was 2 motor graders, not a snow blower, but the big thing that blows into the 2 dump trucks coming. It is a snow blower, and they were working on a side street. I thought, oh, this is not a good sign. They don't think the weather's ever going to get warm enough for it to melt. I've never seen it on a side street before.
Not very warm.
Doreen, you are, of course, I just want to clarify, you're cussing the city of Sturgis and not the good county employees. I'm with this.
I'm not. I'm not cussing anybody. I thought it was kind of nice, but kind of a
Just
bad,
need to clarify that.
a bad omen for what the weatherman is projecting us to have.
Any more questions, comments to these reports? Looks like you got equipment purchase, backhoe purchase you're asking for here.
Yeah, we budgeted for this. We were trying to get one last year. It just didn't work out, and we have another opportunity now that they have them in stock and at the dealership in Rapid City. There's a couple different options that we're looking at, and we have the option to also demo and try them out first to see which one we like or prefer. If we're able to buy one this year.
So you're not asking to purchase. You're just asking.
Well, I'd like to purchase one. We've been trying to get one, but yeah, there's I listed 2 different models in here that we're going to be able to try, and we talked to Butler Cat as well. Just shop around and see prices, and I have that quote from last year that we looked at, and it's still valid. But the case ones are a little better, and I guess why I bring it up is they included a 5-year warranty with this, which is a very good deal for us.
But to clarify, you're just are you asking today for a purchase, or are you saying you're going to try these out?
Yeah, this is the one that is right there available, and that's like the maximum price, what's listed at the bottom. But like the other one that's on the agenda item, I had another attachment there. There's a demo model that we were able to try, and that one's going to be cheaper.
Yes, he'd like to purchase one. One was budgeted, so it's just a matter of which one he decides. I think since it was a budgeted item, I think he's okay with it.
Get the warranty on the demo item.
Yes. Yep.
You'll get the 5 years even on the demo.
Yep.
And the demo is a 23 version, and so it's got a little bit more incentives to get off the lot, I think, is why it's a cheaper deal. But
They haven't given me the quote for that one yet, but I'm sure it'll be showing up any day. But he said it's deeply discounted, so I just got to kind of look at the different options that they each have to make sure it's going to suit us. But I think it'll be fine from what I know.
How many hours?
224, I think, is what he told me. They have a new one of the same one as well, but I'm sure that the one with hours on it has to be cheaper. So.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an approved budgeted item. I think it's just a matter of picking the right one underneath the cost and it's in the Sourcewell thing.
Yep.
Well, all of these are in Sourcewell.
Yep, that's correct.
Right.
And
So
you and your men
budgetary authority.
and women are better at choosing which one will work best for you than I am.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up to let you know that, what we're looking at, and I'm not sure which one is the best for us, but obviously trying to get the best deal.
Well, and with the cost of this kind of, iron to put out there with the 5-year warranty and even something with 220 hours, in my opinion, if you still get the 5-year warranty, you're definitely ahead of the game compared to what Cat and John Deere put out there for the same amount of money.
What's the warranty on the Cats?
2 year. I think it's the engine is like a year, or powertrain's a year, and then 2 year for the rest of the machine is pretty much standard for the industry. But yeah, when I heard about this 5-year deal, just I was like, wow, I was kind of blown away, and they've been great to work with there at the Titan dealership. We ended up renting or leasing a couple tractors for a really good price compared to what we were getting. So.
Well.
Sounds good. Any other questions, comments?
Yes, I don't think a 1-year warranty is even worth it.
If there was something, manufacturing malfunction or something, but otherwise, as soon as that's out of warranty is when it's going to break, it seems like.
Do we need action on this if it was budgeted?
Well, that's what I was originally asking, but I think simply it's in his budget, but I guess it's in Sourcewell, so he doesn't have to have a bid. So I guess I think he's probably got budgetary authority on this since it's budgeted and he's getting it off of Sourcewell. Would be my take on it. That's what I was originally asking, but at the same time, everything is now. What did we budget? I'd have to dive into your equipment budget, though.
You know what the budget line is?
150,000 for a backhoe is what we put in there.
But those were they line itemed out? They're just machinery in the budget.
It was all under one line item, I guess.
It was just. I know when we talked about it, I couldn't remember that number. So that's off of that. Was it 500? No, it'd be more than that. It's about $1.5 million.
Well, yeah, we had
the road grader.
Yep.
Here, how about if I make this motion? I'll make a motion to approve the acquisition of a backhoe not to exceed $150,000 based on Troy's recommendation approved by Earl and Rich.
I'll second.
Motion is second on the floor to allow Troy to purchase backhoe not to exceed $150,000 in coordination with his liaisons. Any discussion to that motion?
You comfortable with that, Troy?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
I think that'd be the way to go.
Earl, Rich, you guys comfortable
I'm
with that?
Any more discussion to the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, passes unanimously. Okay, perfect.
Let us know what you find.
Okay, thank you very much.
Come out to my place with it, I guess.
No, we can't do that.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Not really, Joe.
Yeah, actually, Rich and my places are closer, too. So.
That's a good point. Let's move on to planning reports. Big.
Morning, Commissioners. Tanya Vig, Planning Director. On the KP items for the month, we had 36 different types of building approach septic permits, and then 20 licenses applications have been received and renewed, so we're moving forward. On the application side, for the permits, I wanted to point out that we're starting to get earth disturbance permits and floodplain permits for projects within right-of-ways, developments, so we're moving forward with working well with other agencies. The state, engineering firms, and developers are starting to move in the right direction, and I appreciate their willingness to come in and get their permitting applications. Max completed the 2025 annual boundary and annexation survey for the U.S. Census Bureau, which was quite the project. She updated all the maps throughout the county. We got them turned in. Philip obtained his on-site wastewater installer certificate from the State Plumbing Commission. Philip and I attended an online FEMA Management 101 training. Max will take the same training in February. On the GIS side, the 2026 assessment year parcel layer was created and new splits and plats for the year are being mapped. Any questions on the January items?
Questions, comments? Go on.
The second item is our building inspector, Philip Davis, has received orders for a full-time National Guard. He left February 1st and is hoping to return September. His orders are through September 30th. So I'm asking for a part-time or a full-time temporary person to fill his position, which would assist in the building side of all the applications, uploading, all the work that goes into that aspect. I've thrown around some ideas of maybe of contacting Western Dakota VOTEC with their construction management and maybe doing an internship with them, where they have that type of a program, maybe get someone that doesn't understand the start of a project. This is how the project starts and this is how you move through. He could shadow chat a little bit on what a building inspection would look like and how things are actually constructed out in the field. If that doesn't work, then just someone administratively also just to help with all those permitting. Once the summer rolls around here in the next month, we'll be heavy in permits again, and also to help with some of the development projects that are moving through.
Essentially, what you're asking for is for us to open a position, they may work full-time hours and they may work part-time hours, but they would not be receiving benefits. Is that correct?
Yes.
It looks like it'd be at a grade 12 starting, which is $21.19. Is that correct, Ms. Branzer, as well? Okay. So that's essentially what you're asking for, is for us to open a position to allow you to hire someone for that.
Now, is this going to be somebody that actually goes out and inspects?
No, I will. No, I won't. Okay. I will not. I don't want to put the time into something like that. That's very time consuming. They won't get any certificates or anything, but it at least give them an idea of what kind of goes through the office, or at least someone to push out the permits. There's a building permit takes an average of an hour to an hour and a half to put together. Some days we get 10, some days we get 0. It just depends, but time you review and do all that.
Okay. It just wouldn't be somebody that was going out in the field and actually performing inspections.
Nope, I need help in the office.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, as of now, then that would be with the understanding, as of now, when Philip returns, it would end. Term would be. So essentially, basically, get you to the summer, more or less.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea, and I also think that's a good idea that you're looking at the VOTEC, and maybe if that works out, I would not be opposed to having somebody all the time on a continuing rotating basis if you found out it was worth it to you to do some of the more basic items in your office so that you're not tied up with that stuff.
Right. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Wazorek, you have anything to add?
Yeah, so the only thing that I would add is we might be required to hire some outside experts too to keep up on some of this stuff. We do have a budget line for outside experts right now, but that could need to go up. We might need more experts coming into the year.
So I have reached out to a couple agent or firms on that, and a lot of them are not interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to get people.
I have reached out to one individual. He does not have a firm anymore, and he let his insurance lapse because he works for another department. So there's a couple of them that are interested, but they don't have the full insurance backing. So that's one thing I'll need to visit with Ken if that's something they need to be insured to help with us on review, or if they do not. That will.
If you do use outside, I would highly suggest that you have liability insurance through them. Because if something does go wrong and they are not fully insured, it would come back on the county.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other option we could get, if there's somebody out there that's semi-retired, is we could potentially bring them on as an employee, and then we'd have coverage for any of their actions, even if we, paid some kind of higher temporary rate based on experience. So that would be, but it would be somebody you'd want, consistently for a while. You don't want to. I'd say it's a part-time job, not a temporary job. Somebody who would maybe commit for no less than 6 months or something like that.
Okay.
I would agree, and I like the route we're taking here. You've needed help there for a long time, and we as Commissioner Wazorek mentioned, we do have that in the budget. We also assign funds for that, so with the anticipation of needing some more. So, Anyway, more questions, comments, and/or action on this to open this up.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary position.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor to approve this temporary position. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Big. Sturgis Economic Development Corp. Got some smiling faces here this morning.
Isn't that the truth?
Doubt. Green light on?
There we go. There we go. Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Amanda Anglin. I am the Executive Director of the Sturgis Economic Development Corporation, and I have with me...
I'm Brenna Block. I'm the Economic Development Coordinator.
So we're here today to do our quarterly update for you, and I have provided you with our annual report
for 2024. I won't go through all of it because this year it is kind of lengthy and there is a lot of information in it, but 2024 was a busy year for us. On the data side of it, which is the first 4 sheets of the packet, I've included population numbers for our communities in our county. I did update those to 2023 estimates based on a website that we use for data called Headwaters Economics. And for Meade County, the estimated population is just over 30,000. As far as business growth in Meade County, so anywhere outside of a municipality, there were 2 new businesses reported and then 13 businesses that were expanded or retained. And Meade County kind of keeps track of things a little differently than I do on the business expansion side. So a lot of that was additions to campgrounds and buildings that are within businesses that are outside of city limits. Let's see. There were 73 new home permits issued and 2 multifamily units issued. If we go on to Sturgis, there were 27 new home permits in the Sturgis community. The population estimate was just over 7,000, and we saw 19 new businesses come into Sturgis. We did see 3 businesses close, and then 4 businesses were expanded or retained. So Sturgis continues to have anywhere between 15 and 20 new businesses each year, so that's staying consistent in this community. In Somerset, we have an estimated population of 2,978. They also saw 2 new businesses. Their sales tax was up significantly over the previous year, so that's good to see that there's more people shopping local in that community. And they had 2 new home permits and then 25 multi-unit permits. There is a new apartment building that's being constructed along Sturgis Road in right next to there's 2 existing, and then this is a 3rd, and I believe there's a 4th one planned for that property as well. So there is future housing, single-family housing, which we'll touch on later in that community. So we're continuing to see housing growth across our area. In Piedmont, their estimated population is 956. They have 1 new business. It was actually under construction last year, and it will officially open this year. That is Sundance Custom Steel, which is right along the interstate, which you can see. So I believe there's a plan for an open house and a celebration here coming soon. So we will share that information out to you when it's available. And it's nice to see business growth in our area. They saw 10 building permits and 5 new home permits in the Piedmont community. In the past, I have included information for the Meade County portion of Box Elder, but this year they didn't give me separated information. They gave me information for the entire community, and I didn't feel that was relevant to include in our report because I don't want to step on the toes of the economic development organization in that area. So if you're missing that, that is why.
Well, I can tell you, I attend a meeting with the mayor of Box Elder on a regular basis, so does Talbot, and everything is going into Pennington County by the millions.
Yes, very interesting.
and I always point that out.
Thanks, Doreen. So I'll go on to some of the projects and initiatives that we accomplished in 2024. And I know I mentioned this last year, but SEDC expanded our organization. We doubled our employee count from 1 to 2. And we did that through a partnership with the city of Somerset. And that has been going very well. So we were able to create a full-time employee for our organization, and then we found Brenna, and she's been a great addition to the team. I'll let her talk a little bit about what she's been doing in Somerset for the community, and then throughout the rest of Meade County here in a moment. As we've been talking about for probably about 2 or 3 years now, SEDC built a building in the industrial park, and that building was completed in June of last year. We are almost fully leased. I have one unit available. I just signed a lease for a new business last week, and that is called Sturgis Equipment, and they are an equipment rental company. So when
that's good.
Yes, very much needed here. So when they do open, you'll be able to rent dump trailers and bobcats and mini excavators and things like that. So we're very happy to have them out there in our park. And like I said, we have one unit left. So hopefully we can get that leased here very shortly. I also was able to lease a unit in our incubator. And so we have another new business that is coming, and that is a landscaping company called Key City Landscapes. And he'll be opening here when the weather's appropriate to start that work. So we're excited to see those new businesses in the industrial park. We're continuing to work on the Exit 32 property that we own. We've had some interest in that recently, and so we're working through some projects and really hoping that we can see something come of that property here within the next year. So. Last year we were able to remove the deed restrictions that were on that property, and that prohibited us from doing anything around like prepared food, a hotel, coffee shop, different things like that. And so now it's just free and clear, and we have the ability to basically do whatever we feel is right for that property. So. We did quite a bit with housing in 2024. So we started off the year seeing the results of a housing study in Sturgis, and I don't think we were really too surprised on the results of that. One of the items that I was surprised by was our median household income, specifically in Sturgis, is $49,564, which is quite low considering the cost of living in the Black Hills area. So that's one of the items that we're kind of looking at when we're talking to businesses and doing some recruitment efforts, is how can we bring in businesses that have some higher paying jobs, so maybe that number can increase over the years and just help our residents. As far as some of the key recommendations that came out of that study for Sturgis, establish programs for housing preservation, neighborhood revitalization, and mobile home improvements, increase affordable rental supply. So that's one area where we really need to see some forward movement. We've had one 14 or 16 unit apartment building that's been constructed over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years, and we really need multifamily housing in Sturgis. So senior housing is always a conversation. We did we helped facilitate the build of a 50-unit senior living facility in Sturgis, but part of the need is not necessarily that level, but more of like twin homes and duplexes. And so kind of seniors are ready to move out of their home, but not yet into an assisted living or a apartment type. They still want to have a duplex or something like that that's very minimal maintenance, maybe an HOA, something along those lines with little care that they need to take in their living.
I have a question on the Gustafson apartment.
Yes.
I heard that due to the number of seniors not occupying the building, that it was going to be open for the general population. Is that true?
I don't believe so. I think what they're doing, so the building was constructed with the first floor being assisted living and then floors 2 and 3 independent living. And now there's such a need for assisted living that they're looking at changing the second floor also to assisted living and then leaving that third floor as independent. So that's been quite a need for a number of years. I know Aspen Grove, since the day it was built, has had a significant waiting list. And so they're looking at making those updates to see what they can do.
Have they ever achieved 100% occupancy?
No.
What is their occupancy? Because as I drive past, I realize cars outside is not a true indication, but
Right.
I don't see a lot of lights on at night over there either.
The assisted, I don't know their exact occupancy numbers on the independent side. I know they have a few apartments that are occupied. The assisted living side is full. The independent living side, there is not a lot of occupancy there. And what we're attributing that to is the cost, and there's no garages, and that's supposed to be something that's coming. And then seniors are just staying in their homes longer because of the cost. So,
well, the entry-level rental is about $3,000 a month minimum, isn't it? It's pretty pricey for a group that got so much in government assistance in getting it built.
Yes, and there is no. It's completely independent, so you cannot use any assistance or insurances or anything. It's private pay. That's what I was looking for. It's completely private pay in that facility. Yeah.
Can't live a real long time if you're you could use up your assets pretty quickly.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Any other questions about that? No? Okay. So we're continuing on with housing work. In the Somerset area, I had mentioned there's a groundbreaking ceremony for the Highlands at Norman Ranch, and I think Brenna might mention that a little bit. One of the other initiatives that we worked on is the Black Hills Area Community Foundation and Senator Round's office, as well as the Ellsworth Development Authority, were able to acquire $30 million in a federal reward that goes towards housing. So the Black Hills Area Community Foundation brought all the communities together to create housing trust funds in each community. So we have created one of those in Sturgis. And once the funds are allocated to the Black Hills Area Community Foundation, then the Sturgis Strategic Housing Trust Fund will have some of those dollars to loan out for housing developments in the Sturgis community or directly adjacent to Sturgis. There wasn't any other Meade County community that came forward to do a trust fund. The Somerset Piedmont area is included in with the Rapid City area. So that portion is covered under those funds if there are any projects that are identified that could potentially benefit. So these funds will more than likely stay as revolving loan funds, so then we can continue to work towards affordable housing as the years go on. So more to come with that when those funds become available, and of course we're at the mercy of the federal government, so we're not quite sure when that will be made available. We also did a couple of surveys, one of the SEDC membership base and then one of the Somerset community. Overall, the perception of each of those communities from the residents' perspective is good. There, of course, are areas where we can work on like business growth, shopping local, and daycare, which, of course, is a broader challenge than just our communities. I've included information about the Downtown Sturgis Foundation because that's an organization that SEDC participates in, and we do some work there with helping with the Art Walk and some holiday initiatives that are there. Also in the packet is an allsturgisevents.com website, and that was an initiative from the city, the chamber, and the Downtown Foundation to try to bring a place where people can submit to and go to look for events happening in the Sturgis community. So if you're ever bored and looking for something to do, you can look at that website. And if you're with an organization that has a public event to post, that is the place to do it as well. And then lastly, I'll just touch on SEDC did some strategic planning at the end of 2024 for 2025. And on the bottom of this sheet here it's called the Thriving Community Blueprint, and this is a tool that we use to guide our work. And so what we're looking at here is that The bottom pieces of the pyramid, the ones highlighted in blue, are community development initiatives, and that's it's a pyramid, so that's the base of the pyramid. So what we want to see in communities is that those items on the bottom of the pyramid are working well because they set up the foundation for economic development at the top. So the economic development piece at the top, new business attraction, existing business development, and entrepreneur support is where we see the business growth. And so for 2025, SEDC has decided to focus on new business attraction, entrepreneur support, housing, infrastructure, and storytelling and marketing. We also added a block that's not in this blueprint called community advocacy. And we want that priority to reflect the needs of our communities in our area and help our residents and just continue to help our communities thrive. So those are kind of our focus areas coming into 2025, and I think I will stop there and let Brenna kind of give an update on what she's been working on. She's been doing a great job in the Somerset, Piedmont area, and we're really pleased with what she's trying to do. So go ahead, Brenna.
Thank you. So I have been focusing about half of my time down in the Somerset area. Right now, the main priority is just connecting with our businesses and understanding who's there and what the needs are, and if we can bring any resources that are applicable to those needs to help problem solve and make them successful. So right now, my key focus is connecting with our businesses and also create relationships with key local players like developers, landowners, different people like that that can maybe come to the table and help brainstorm further development, what that future 3, 5, 10 years looks like. There's obviously a housing boom in that area, so utilities, infrastructure, all those conversations are being had, and those relationships are being established so that we can bring people to the table and hopefully be more successful with those partners and establishing good relationships with those partners. Business Connections events. So we have started a series of events, if you will, and this is for all Meade County businesses, but it's being hosted at the City Hall in Somerset, and we are partnering with kind of statewide resources and partners and bringing them to the Hills to speak and connect with our Meade County businesses. So I think the first one we had was manufacturing technology and solutions. So Pete Menk came out here and spoke, Menk or Menke, I don't know. And he came out and spoke with some of our businesses on the resources that they have to offer at MTS. Our next one is Build Dakota, and then we will follow up with South Dakota Trade in April. So Callie out in Elevate Rapid City, she spends half of her time working with South Dakota Trade, so she'll come out and be a resource for them during that event. So very exciting. It's a great opportunity. We are also planning a rural circuit. So Amanda and I are planning to do kind of a road trip, if you will, to our rural communities to visit with their leaders and their businesses. We will be probably executing this when the weather is a little bit better and not -4. So more to come on that. We're really excited. We're kind of planning our trip out and making phone calls and establishing connections before we go so we can make sure that it's valuable time, and we will be reporting back on how that goes. And lastly, as Amanda stated before, we have Norman Ranch Estates. So this is a housing development going up in the Somerset community. It's very exciting. They are just approved for their phase 1 right now. It's going to be a ton of homes. I think right now it's just infrastructure. They're still in the planning phase. They haven't quite got the go-to to start moving dirt. So those meetings are being had every month at the Somerset City Commission meetings. And progress is being made. It's just a lot of back and forth because it's a huge development, several hundred homes, because I believe the largest lot size they're offering right now is 0.25. So with 300 acres, obviously, it's going to be cool. Yeah, so that's kind of the update from the Somerset corridor.
And Norman Ranch has started. They are moving dirt, putting pipes in the ground, yes.
Okay, so here we go. I know that they were having some issues with maybe some of the planning for that infrastructure. So good to hear that they're finally moving forward with that.
So that's all we have for today. Thank you for your support of economic development and what we do in the county. And our annual meeting is coming up here at the end of March, so please attend if you're able. And that's all we have for today, so thank you.
Any other questions, comments for Amanda or Brenna? All silent. a good sign. We appreciate you guys. So thanks for coming in today. Let's move down to on our agenda to auditor G1. Report. Any questions, comments on the overtime report? If not, let's move down to G2, transfer of retail on-off sale wine and liquor license.
Good morning, Erin Cox, Deputy Auditor. So what you have before you today is the approval of a liquor license for a transfer from Tamala Batista DBA Garage Sports to the Garage Sports LLC. The applicant is here if you have any questions.
Anybody from the public wish to speak to this? Sir, if you'd like to come forward. I need one of those seats. She doesn't bite at all.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe the first time.
My name is Michael Batista. This is my wife's bar business. It's not mine. However, it has affected me. And let me explain how that is. The multiple trips that have been made down to this office that doesn't seem to have their stuff together. I had surgery up here. We came up early, dropped off all the paperwork. I went to Meade County. I'm a disabled vet. Went to Meade County, or to the VA out here, had surgery. While I'm in surgery, she gets a call saying, well, there's no check. So we have to drive after my surgery over here. I'm supposed to go straight home. We live up by Hill City. I have to sit in the car while she comes up here, and they find the check in their copying machine. This continues. We go home. She gets a call saying there's some other paperwork they don't have. Well, they sent her home with all the original paperwork. So now I'm not supposed to stay at home. We have to make a decision. Does her business suffer because of their incompetence? Or does she have to make a trip down here? So I have to stay at home alone, where I'm not supposed to be, from surgery, so that she can drive all the way down to Meade County to fix their mistake. There's some incompetence there that I'm assuming the county needs to take care of it.
And we'll take that into consideration. Are you in favor? I assume you're in favor of this transfer.
Of course I am.
I would assume so, and that's what this testimony is. If you want to email me, or we can talk about.
Okay, we'll talk.
This, and yeah,
I'd rather do it face to face.
And that's fine. But this hearing is for whether people are in favor or not. So
okay. Well, you asked if there was any comments. That's my comment.
Certainly, and I take it that I'd like to hear from you. So,
okay. Thank you.
We'll visit with the auditors.
Well, I want to say something too.
Please do.
I've never met anybody that's perfect yet.
No,
sometimes some things happen, and
it's been going on for over a year. This was one instance.
Well, if it's been going on for over a year, this is the first time we've heard anything, and we are all available a lot sooner than that.
Okay.
And if you've noticed, since it's been going on over a year, there has been some changes down there over a year, and perhaps you should have gotten in touch with somebody within that year.
Okay.
Rather than at a public meeting.
Okay. Well, thank you for your input. Appreciate
You're
it. Thank you.
So, okay. Anybody else from the public wish to speak to this hearing? Anybody else wish to speak? Not hearing anybody else wishing to speak, I'll close public testimony. Anybody, any questions, comments from the commission?
Are taxes all paid on this one?
Yes, they are.
No issues from SO?
Any other questions, comments, and or action?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer.
I got a motion and a second on the floor to approve the transfer of the wine and liquor license. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's move down to commission. communique. Nothing, just basically updates in the communique. Questions or comments on that? If I recall, there was a letter in support of us supporting libraries, which that's taken up at budget time, and there was Arts Council, just an update on their events. Okay, let's move down to H2, which is, we talked about this last time. Veterans Day is November 11th, which happens to be the second Tuesday, which happens to be when we scheduled our commission meeting. Rhea, I believe you looked into what the state does, and they observe it on the exact day. Is that correct?
Yes, they do. Yes.
I guess that's the question up in the air. Would we like to observe it on the exact day, or would like to move that day to a Friday or Monday? I would guess it's probably easiest if we stay in line with what the state does. That have any bearing, I guess, with Motor V or anything?
I would say that probably does have a direct impact on Motor V.
So we probably better observe it on the same day. So
right,
which
because the court system, everything will be...
Courts, yep. So with that said, we're going to have to move our meeting date. I'm kind of at a loss as going through the calendar.
Is there an issue just to go to the 10th and just do a Monday meeting?
I don't have an issue. The other thing I toyed with is it's almost too close in meetings, but I toyed with possibly trying to squeeze it in the morning of the 3rd, which would help you out, Talbot. Or could you, I guess, I'm fine with the 10th.
Yeah,
10th or 12th.
Doesn't matter.
Monday or Tuesday, Monday or Wednesday, what would be the preference?
I'm open to whatever works for everybody.
Is there typically, the only question I'd have, Rhea, do you know typically, that is a long weekend for schools and stuff, so is that typically a week, Monday, that people take off, staff?
I believe that school actually has school on Veterans Day. They have the big Veterans Day programs in the Meade School District.
Okay. No preference, and we don't have to set a meeting date today either. If you'd like to set it for that Monday, make a motion.
Wait, I mean, anybody got a preference between Monday or Wednesday?
That's my only question on is if either.
What works for your schedule? You probably have the busiest.
Open that far out, believe me.
You make the action, it's all along.
Rhea, from a standpoint of making sure everything's noticed timely.
I'm sorry, Talbot?
From a standpoint of making everything's noticed timely, do you think, does it matter to you, Monday or Wednesday?
Actually, I would suggest Wednesday, simply just with that in mind. It's a good point, because everyone's in the habit of getting it to you on a lot of times late.
Come on, I want to force everybody to get their stuff in on Wednesday.
Yeah, but it would.
It's fine.
Let's go with Wednesday. So
okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to set our first meeting
Wednesday,
in November 2025 for November 12th.
I'll second.
Motion and a second on the floor to move our November meeting from November 11th to
November 12th.
November 12th to November 13th. It's in February already. Or where am I?
November 11th to November 12th.
Thank you. I need help keeping. Any questions or comments or discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And carries. Anything in consent calendar? In consent, anyone would like to talk about? Not hearing anything. Let's move down to we have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve consent calendar.
Motion is second on the floor to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion to that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Down to item J, executive session. Have a need for going to executive session for personnel. Yet today.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor to go into executive session. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Personnel and contractual. No. You can go home, you can stay, you can do whatever you want, Bernie. Thank you.
Warm.
Yep, thank you. Yep. Well, what's that? Yeah.
out of exec.
Motion is second on the floor to come out of exec. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We've completed our agenda and no more work today, so I declare us adjourned.